Welcome, everyone, to the ScreamCast. Thanks for tuning into the show. It's been cool seeing the download numbers kind of creep up every week, so I want to thank all the new listeners that have been popping in and taking a listen to the show. With me, as always, is Brad Henderson.
Fuck you, Sean.
Thank you very much. And also with me, with us here, is Brian Sauer.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Hello. And today we have a very special guest. But before we do all that, we need to get into some Blu-ray announcements. So I'm going to turn this over to Bradley.
Well, not much from last week, but Vinegar Syndrome announced a limited edition. I think it's 1,000 pressed of Runaway Nightmare. So that pre-orders start now. They're encouraging people to buy off Diabolic DVD. They're selling out quickly. I know that they said they stockpiled about 200 to take different festivals and conventions throughout through the rest of the year. So you might want to pre-order that. I think it's like $24.99. They always put out good shit. So this one's supposed to be like ultra bizarre and ridiculous, and just like everything else they put out in their catalog. And Scream Factory announced on Killer POV was oh shit, I forgot the titles.
Dude, thank God you credited Killer POV. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, oh my God, if we didn't do that, we might be a nightmare. They announced 1972's Tales from the Crypt, along with that's going to be a double bill with Vault of Horror, and they're also releasing. Brian Sauer needs to help me out here. The Doctor and the Devils. Yes, they're releasing Doctor and the Devils, which is all kind of older flicks, so it's kind of nice because they have released some older flicks, since they've been around. They did, like the Neanderthal Man and stuff like that. So pretty excited to see the older movies get some love, maybe more Amicus titles in the future. You guys.
Cool. Yeah, no, that's those are really cool announcements. I was very surprised. I wouldn't have thought that would have been, because they've been such an 80s mode mostly, 70s and 80s. Well, I guess those are 70s films, but like the British side of it, they haven't done enough of that, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And Tales from the Crypt's actually, pretty fun movie from the 70s. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Absolutely.
And with us today, our special guest, excited to have him on the show, Mr. Pat Healy.
Hi, guys.
You may know him from Cheap Thrills and The Innkeepers.
And Captain America 2.
And Home Alone 3.
Yeah, I'm all over that shit.
I actually haven't seen Captain America 2 yet.
Oh, Pat's killer in Captain America 2.
That's all anyone can talk about when they see it. It's crazy.
Damn it. I'm missing out.
Forget it.
Well, when you have 3 kids, you basically relegate yourself to renting Blu-rays.
Yeah, eventually your kids will be old enough, and then you'll be seeing that.
Yes. I did take my 6-year-old son to Godzilla, and that ruled.
So. He wasn't scared?
Oh, he loved it. He's been a Godzilla fan since he was 3.
Oh, good. Yeah, well, those other movies aren't so scary, but that one's got a little more, jump, loud scares in it.
Yeah, he ate it up, man.
That's good.
There was all this criticism of that Godzilla wasn't in the movie enough. He loved the hell out of it, and he sat through all the build up, all the story, and
no, it's fantastic. It's a great Godzilla movie. I mean, I think the funny thing is when people are like, "Oh, the characters aren't very good," and you're like, "What? It's a Godzilla movie. Godzilla is a great character. like the characters in the other movies are great, so good."
There's never been a good character in a Godzilla movie ever.
No, I mean, maybe the first movie, but I mean, that's such a different movie from every other one. Yeah. It's like an Ozu film or something, like a monster. But I mean, the other movies have like the most, like Professor Fabian, and it's like, this movie has like real, actors and everything. But Godzilla is such a great character. And when Godzilla shows up, because he's not in it as much, the 3 big moments, which I won't spoil for anyone, when he really struts his stuff, when he does the 3 Godzilla-y things that you love Godzilla to do.
Yes.
I mean, I saw it in the, Thursday night, the opening night before, and it was just like, I was among that. I can't remember the last time I was in a movie theater and just, spontaneously broke up into cheers and applause, and the entire theater did, so.
Oh, yeah. I got goosebumps on the first reveal, and then, it was just, It was so cool seeing my son, like, at all those moments, he totally our eyes would lock at each of those
Yes.
moments, and it was amazing. It's incredible.
Yeah.
So,
You're choking me up.
oh man, here we go.
Seriously, that's very touching. I'm glad to hear.
Godzilla is his Star Wars. He's been watching that since he was 3. So
Yeah, my nephew's not quite old enough yet, but soon he'll be able to see some more of those things, I think.
it's pretty great living vicariously through your kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a second life for movies. Not that we ever ran out of the first one, but yeah, it's been great for me too. Same deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get to relive a lot of stuff. I mean,
Yeah, we all have kids on the show, so we all kind of love that bit of it.
I mean, I have nieces and nephews. I don't have kids of my own, but we get to, like, my niece was in town with my older brother, who Brian, Jim.
Yeah, I still haven't met him, dude. That blows me away. I gotta meet him.
You guys have spoken, and he's done, columns for your blog and stuff. And,
He's awesome.
his daughter is almost 6, and her whole life revolved around the show Adventure Time. And so my friends actually make that show, so I was able to take her to the studio and watch her watch them record the voices and see all the stuff and get all kinds of gear and swag and stuff.
Dude.
And you get that. And then we took her to Disneyland the next day, where she was so excited to see all of the, oh my God, it's the Little Mermaid. Like, legitimate excitement. So yeah, that vicarious thrill is like, yeah, you get to, like, relive it all over again.
Yeah, we start off as just these wide-eyed, ignorant, happy, joyful little things, and turn into sad, sarcastic, cynical bastards.
I don't know. I think we somehow have both in us.
Yeah.
It's like it's a very you can be both things at the same time and not be completely insane. It's possible.
Yeah. Well, Pat, speaking of, taking care of children, I just watched Cheap Thrills for the first time last night. And,
watch it with your kids?
With my children. No, not with my children. No. But it did bring us to things like, what would you do for your family, right? To take care of your family.
Sure.
And, man, oh man, what a movie.
Well, The Last Shot is an ode to fatherhood. Sort
It
of
is.
like a modern day Norman Rockwell painting.
I want a poster of that
Wow.
framed.
I
that
always
shot.
said when we did it, I even when I was picking out the costume and when, we came up with the makeup and all that stuff and how that shot was going to be, composed and everything, that, we use the word iconic a lot. And I said 2 things. I said I want this to be a Halloween costume next year. And I said, and every college kid is going to have this poster on his wall. Because they wanted that to be the poster for the movie at one point, and we, felt like, no, you spoiled the whole movie. You give the last shot of the movie.
Yeah.
But it's the kind of thing where, like, and I guess I sound like I'm bragging a little bit, but I'm super proud of the movie. Like the Travis Bickle with the mohawk or whatever you see on kids' college walls. Like, I think that's gonna be. I hope that's gonna be on a lot of other weirdos like us, college dorm room walls and posters and stuff, because we really wanted it to be that, and it seems to have that impact because people are always talking about the last shot of the movie. And
It's a hell of a movie.
Thanks.
I don't think I knew what to expect going in. I based on the actors involved and, everyone involved, I knew I was in for something that was going to be good. I just didn't think it would kind of affect me the way it did. How did you guys, get involved with the project? Was it something you were involved with from the start? Did you come in as an actor?
No, I didn't know these guys. Evan Katz, who directed it and, also had a hand in the script, and, Travis Stevens, who's a producer. I knew them a little. I didn't know them, but I knew of them through a guy named Adam Wingard, who made You're Next and, Horrible Way to Die and a few other films. And Evan and Adam had gone to school together. So I recognized that name when I got the script in the mail. And when I met them, it turned out that Evan was a big fan of this movie, Great World of Sound, that I starred in about 7 years ago, I guess. At that time it was about 5 years ago. So that's great, because that's like not a movie that a lot of people have seen. It's a movie I did with Craig Zobel, who did Compliance. It's the first movie that we did together. And, so I was pleased that he was a fan of that film and that he wanted to take this script, which I thought was excellent, but could easily be interpreted as something sort of comical and wacky. And he let me know that he didn't want to do that. And one of the reasons he wanted to cast me is he wanted it to be a very grounded experience, that it would be funny if it's going to be funny. It would be scary if it was going to be scary. It would just be realistic and work on its own terms. And it ends up being very, emotionally affecting for people because it's very real. And as you said before, it has very relatable issues about taking care of your family and about the economy and things like that. And it's played for real, and all the actors sort of play it for real. So that was what was, really appealing to me. But I just sort of came on board as someone they wanted to cast, and he wasn't really able to cast me. But then Compliance came out and it did really well, and that allowed him a little more leverage to cast me in the lead role, and that's how it came about.
Nice.
Yeah, with you coming off Compliance and then this, like, I think you're going to be making, I mean, not to brag, but quite the name for yourself.
Yeah, I mean,
you're like a huge asshole, but you're fucking awesome at it,
Thanks. I mean, I hope that this character contains all of the, spectrums of human emotion. It certainly doesn't start that way, and it certainly, I end in a different place from where I begin. That's what's sort of exciting about me, is to not just play some one note, character or creep or something like that. But, I mean, look, I hope I'm on the cusp here, as some people say. I certainly could use, the extra pocket change, but, for now, it's nice to be building, as a cinephile like you guys, it's nice to be building a body of work in films that are things that I myself would like to see. And, as Brian can attest to, and we talked about before, we grew up, very into cult movies and the things that are a huge part of my childhood and my adolescence and my young adulthood. And even now, those are the films that I tend to seek out or like more. So to be building a career in that arena when these kinds of films are much more rare now is, a real reward for me, because I'd be lying if I'd be saying that I was in total control at all times over what I chose to do and what I didn't do and what I, would like to be doing. But I seem to be in the place where I think I should be in the kinds of movies that I want to be a part of. So I'm grateful for that.
That's great.
Yeah. I mean, you're going on what, 17 years? Is that as far as, or in the business, I guess? Yeah.
Especially, I've been in the business. This is the 20th year. 20
years. Oh my God.
Oh, that's right out of college and doing theater. And I guess my first, I guess about like the first smaller on camera stuff was in 94, 95, commercials and TV and stuff in Chicago. And then, Home Alone 3. The first movie that I got cast in was My Best Friend's Wedding, the Julia Roberts movie. And my scene wasn't even cut out. My scene was cut out before I did it. I was on set for a couple days. I got my SAG card through that movie and everything, which means I've had health insurance for almost 20 years because of it. But they never filmed me in it. So I did Malone 3 in 96, I guess, and it came out at the end of, late 96, early 97, and it came out at the end of 97. So, yeah, that's 17 years there. So, yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Dude, it's just, I remember the films you're in, but sometimes I remind myself and I'm like, my God, he's worked with so many great directors. And even in the last, just since, let's say, The Innkeeper's on, let's say we only go back to 2011, because sometimes people can't remember more than 3 years ago.
Yeah.
The shit you've been doing, between that and Compliance, and looks like you had something on Metalocalypse and Eagle Heart, and just so much cool shit, dude.
Yeah, like I said, some of those are friends of mine. We are like-minded individuals like Brendan Small or Jason Wallner, who does Eagle Heart, and some are just, I want to seek out. Look, believe it or not, even though I need the money, I do turn things down, and I want to work on a good script that has a good part for me, that with someone who is a good director, or someone I think could be a good director, like I felt like about Evan, and it turned out I was right. So, it's a lot of luck, but it's, it's not luck in that I've put in a lot of hard work, and I know that I'm, doing better work than I've ever done, and I'm in a good place personally and professionally. But it is lucky to be doing the kinds of things that I like to do. I mean, I have plenty of friends who are certainly successful, but they're not necessarily involved in projects that are things that they want to be doing. And, they envy me in some weird way, but, envy their stable lifestyle. So
that's got to be tricky to deal with that lifestyle business over the course of 20 years. Does it get old, or, are you just worked it out?
Now it's getting to the point where quality of life is much more important to me. So I am still trying to craft the career that I want to have, which is doing these movies that are coming out that I have bigger parts in. But I do recognize the need to work more and make more money, whatever that means, however it manifests itself. I'm not quite sure, but certainly I could do Draft Day and Captain America, and a couple days here and there, Eagle Heart even, and I do some voiceover stuff and things like that pay the bills, and I have a pretty solid screenwriting career that mostly pays my bills, that allows me to do the smaller movies. But yeah, I do need to be stepping it up a little bit in that department, because I do, if I don't value, I'm always going to be an artist, and I'm always going to value that first. I'm sad to say, I'm not married. I don't have kids. But I am looking for more of a balance between, a good quality personal life and a professional life too.
We've talked to quite a few actors and actresses through doing the show. And I think everyone that we've talked to have been kind of what I would consider kind of like working class actor. You know what I mean? Like it's, because a lot of times people I talk to, friends of mine and everything, they think that, if you're an actor, it's all hookers and blow,
right.
24/7. But,
limos to work, limos home.
Yeah, but really it's not like that. I mean, there's a small percentage, but most of the time it's, this is a job, and you're doing something that you enjoy to do, that you're good at. But at the end of the day, you're going to work, and you're working on a film, and then you're done with that film, then you got to find work after that film ends,
Yeah, I mean, I make a very good living by anyone's standards. I live in expensive town, Los Angeles, so that makes it less so. And I don't work consistently like everyone does. I might make all that money in 3 months of the year. So it gets, hairy sometimes, but I certainly wouldn't complain, because I make my living doing what I want to do. And a lot of people can't say that, but I am a working class actor. And what a lot of people really don't know is that's even becoming almost an impossibility. It's to be an independent filmmaker or actor is almost like a hobby these days, and a lot of things just don't pay like they used to. Certainly not the way they did when I started in this business, 20 years ago. They don't. And there isn't as much work, even though there's more need for content, but it just doesn't pay as well anymore. And places like New Mexico and Louisiana and Georgia have way bigger production scenes than Los Angeles does now. There's many more things shot there than there are here, which is crazy to me. I mean, they shoot more television shows in Chicago or in Atlanta almost than they do in LA. So it's sort of a strange time to even be a working class actor. And we're looking at not to bring everybody down, but we're sort of looking at the same thing of the elimination of the middle class all over America in our profession as well. And not just actors, people who work on crews who, I think that it is something crazy. Like there was an article recently where the membership in the unions like IATSE and the Teamsters and things like that in Georgia and Louisiana has gone up like 1,000 or 2,000% or something in the last couple of years. I mean, it's people relocating there because there's so many films and TV shows being shot there. So, I mean, I'm looking for, we're looking for things to balance out. Nobody quite knows what the business is going to be yet. I mean, even the films that I've been a lead in the last few years are all these VOD films. And that's a new thing because there's obviously some money being made there and it gets seen by more people, but it's not viewed by the industry or the public at large as being box office money. And they certainly don't report those numbers for whatever reasons. If we all know why. So it's not seen as, you know, you can't go like, well, Cheap Thrills theatrically made, you know, less than less than 100 grand, but it was on VOD for a month before it came out and it still is. So everyone I know seems to have seen it, but, you know, so you don't really know what that's going to be. And I think if VOD is the future, or at least a future or a part of the future, it isn't here yet. And it sort of hasn't, it's still got that straight to video stigma about it where people must think it's not as good if it's on VOD. And, that's not true anymore. That used to be the case. It's not true anymore. It's just that people have more options. There's certainly more content on the independent side, but like I said, it doesn't pay as well.
I first saw The Innkeepers on VOD.
I premiered on VOD. Yeah. Came out. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that was the first time I saw it. I paid, gosh, what was it, like $10, something like that?
Yeah, $9.99 it was.
Yeah, I think I did too.
Pre-theatrical price. Yeah.
I do that a lot.
Yeah, no, it's a great
VOD is great, especially for people with kids.
Yes.
Innkeepers and especially Cheap Thrills are movies that were really fun to watch in theaters with crowds. So I'm sad that more people didn't see them that way. You know, Cheap Thrills, especially people who see it in the theater tell me what a blast they had, and people who watch it at home tell me how it bummed them out.
Well, that's true. I could totally see that. I'm sure there was the inevitable comparison to like Jackass a little bit, you know, but like obviously a much more dire, Jackass
meets Michael Haneke. Yeah.
There you go. Oh, that's perfect. Yeah. I was gonna say Hitchcock, but that's a little pretentious. But yeah, no, I mean definitely Haneke. That's totally what it is. Yeah. No, totally not.
I hate movie crowds, so I loved watching it by myself. I had a fantastic time last night.
I don't like it much anymore either. There's always somebody to disrupt, but you know, like the festival screenings and things like that, where you know, where you're crowd with hundreds of people, and if they're screaming and they're yelling. I mean, if you've got the DVD or the Blu-ray, which is out now, there's a great behind the scenes doc, really great, of the movie, which is like a 45-minute documentary. Cool. And one of the things in it is the premiere audience, and they have one of those night vision cameras in the theater watching the audience, and it's really great. I wanted them to use it on one of the ads, but they didn't end up doing it ultimately.
Well, then everyone would think it's a Paranormal Activity movie.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, anything to get asses in the seats, but you know, I think it's a movie like so many of the movies probably all of us love that finds its audience over time. You know, there's so many films that are favorites of mine. I mean, Repo Man didn't even play in a theater anywhere near where I lived. I saw it on VHS, you know. That's certainly not a movie that people think of as being a movie that went straight to video, but pretty much that was the case for that movie. But that's a classic. That's in the criteria.
I know. Isn't that crazy, dude? I love that. I love that we're in that place now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, you know, one thing we do know about movies is time is really the only arbiter of what's good. There are movies that were huge box office hits and won Oscars and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that no one even remembers. And then there are movies that I did, for example, like Magnolia or Ghost World or Assassination of Jesse James, that no one cared about when they came out. They got mixed reviews. They didn't do any business, and they went away. And now those are three films that people regularly tell me are their favorite or among their favorite. I can't tell you how many people tell me Magnolia is their favorite movie, and they're sincere about it. But, you know, at the time it wasn't, you know, that, and I don't hear anybody talking about American Beauty. You know, it's like that was the movie that year, you know, but Magnolia obviously is the important film of the two, you know, not to put down American Beauty, but it's like that's the one that people are still talking about. And that as time goes by, there are some movies that are big hits that remain classics, and there are some movies that, you know, win Oscars that are, you know, undeniable masterpieces. But, you know, time is the only way we know of what's good and what people are talking about 10, 15, 20, 30. And, you know, in the case of going back to Gone with the Wind or The Wizard of Oz, you know, we're talking about, you know, 75 years later. So, who knows? But I feel like this is a movie that it has the people that see it, you know, really love it, and it really has that mark of a great cult movie. So I'm thinking it's going to have a nice long life.
Oh yeah,
You know,
it's got some serious legs.
Yeah.
Pat, I was gonna ask you real quick. I'm sure you get this question a lot, but on the movie geekier side, as far as prep for a role like this, I can't remember if we talked about this when I interviewed you, but do you watch like movies? Do you go, okay, this is the script. What could I watch? Whose performance could I potentially look at to help me with this? Or is that not something you do anymore?
Oh, I don't do that consciously, but it happens unconsciously.
Gotcha.
Because movies are so much a part of my DNA. I try not to be imitative, you know, of anything, but
yeah, I didn't even mean as an imitative thing, but I was just curious what you process.
Like if you watch the commentary actually on the Cheap Thrills DVD and Blu-ray, I know I sound like I'm plugging it, but I'm really referencing it.
Oh, you're allowed to plug the shit out of it.
Yeah, people should fucking buy it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you should, and you'll love it. And it's worth it just for the documentary alone. But in the commentary, I talk about that, which is the unconscious, rip. And there's a couple of them. And I don't know that I'm doing it at the time. The first time I noticed it was when I made a film, Mullet. I made this short film, Mullet.
Which is awesome.
Thanks. Yeah. And when I made it and I cut it and I shot it, and it wasn't until I was watching it for the first time I was like, oh, that was, you know, I got that from, you know, this movie. I mean, I have the title, you know, of the movie start at the top and roll down, and which I just thought was a cool, visual, but was, you know, my favorite movie is The King of Comedy. So that's like,
I was going to say, dude,
I didn't do that on purpose, you know, and there are shots ripped out of, E.T. or Do the Right Thing. I'm just not aware of them. And, when I did Cheap Thrills, like, after watching it a few times, I was like, you know, there's this scene where I go into a room and I'm by myself and I'm looking for a safe, and I'm completely, I mean, it's through me, so it doesn't look the same, but I'm completely doing, you know, John McClane from Die Hard. I'm from myself. I'm like looking around. I've got this sort of like tense thing. And then there's a thing at the end of the movie where I am stumbling out of the house and I'm all fucked up. And there was this moment that always stuck in my mind of Tom Hanks in The Burbs at the end. He walked out of the house.
Wow.
And it was only after watching it, I was like, oh, I'm aping that. So, you know,
shit.
My mind was just blown just now.
That is fucking amazing, Pat. We've never talked about The Burbs, I don't think, but I love the shit out of that movie.
I love that movie. That needs to come to Blu-ray.
Well, it's coming from Arrow.
I need to get a region-free Blu-ray player.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Anyway, that's awesome, dude. Wow.
The Dante tie-in to our subject tonight, too.
Yes.
Yes.
I love it.
Brad, did you have anything off? I feel like we're
No, I just like hearing Pat speak. I mean, I'm getting a little excited over here.
That's
don't get
awesome.
too excited. We don't want to.
He's the fucking guest. People would rather hear it than fucking me for the past 16 goddamn episodes.
I got one more question for Pat before we maybe
Of course you do, Brian.
Of course I do. Well, this is something Pat told me a while ago, and I hope it's okay if I talk about this, but you had told me that at a certain point, like when things get a little thinner, and I'm sure it's not that way now, but you had to sell off all your DVDs.
Oh
yeah.
And now have you replenished, or are you in the purge phase still? Where
you know what's funny is that it happened again after that, because I went through after we did that interview, I went through another hard time, and I've since replenished, not fully, but I vowed now to not ever do that again. I'm always finding different ways, so I'm building up a pretty good collection. It's not what it once was, but on the other hand, there weren't as many things out on Blu-ray at the time, so.
That's true. I guess it's easier to rebuild when it's Blu-ray.
Yeah. And, you know, I look for these sales and the Criterion sales and the Amazon sales, and I'm on, you know, I'm always bargain shopping. I can't believe when people go and buy, I mean, it's nice that people go in a store and buy retail, but they pay $25 or $30 for one of these things, and you can get it on Amazon for 10 or 12 for $15. And I generally don't tend to pay more than $15 for something. I walked into Scarecrow Video up in Seattle when I was there for the Cheap Thrills opening, and Scarecrow, I don't know if you know, is like, you know, the video store that has everything. And they had Thelma Schumacher had just been there the week before, and she had signed all of these copies of King of Comedy and Wolf of Wall Street, so I bought one of those.
Fuck. That was just one of those moments, Pat, when you told me that, I was just like, it really hit me. Like, not that I didn't know that, obviously, being an actor isn't that whole thing we were talking about being totally wealthy and whatever, but I was like, wow, I can't imagine being a guy that loves movies as much as you do and works in the movies and having to do that and being able to do that. I respected the hell out of it, and it was just one of those things where I was just like, wow, that's dedication, you know, that's serious.
Well, I don't think you should do it unless you love it, because, and believe me, I know plenty of people who don't love it and they do it, and I wonder what the fuck they're up to, because it's miserable sometimes. And the only thing that keeps me going is I love the work, and I love to watch, you know, movies, and I love being a part of this. If not this business, I mean, this thing, you know, and, if I didn't, I could easily find something else to do, but I don't want to do anything else, you know, just like I'm sure you guys have this passion that allows you to have this life too. So, I can't, you know, I can't get away. It's a bad, drug, you know, it's a bad habit, but, in some ways, but it's also the most, you know, richly rewarding experiences of my life come through, the work that I do. So,
well, I want to bring this up real quick. We're gonna go to musical breaks in soon, but what I wanted to bring up about Cheap Thrills was how this movie kind of connects with people. Because I mean, last year my wife was laid off. This year my department was going through like a reorg and a layoff and all that kind of stuff, and I got out of it. It's like I think everyone can relate to a point in their life where they've had to struggle, or a few points in their life where they've had to struggle. Yeah. You know, and that's the one thing that, I mean, when people ask me to describe Cheap Thrills, like, you kind of look at the synopsis and you think this is just a dark comedy, but I think the thing that works and that connects, you know, with people is that this isn't, it isn't a comedy. There's moments of comedy that happen.
Right.
But I think everyone can relate to what's going on screen with this kind of parable, you know. What would you do in that situation?
Like what Brian said, Jackass, and it's like, I love Jackass, and I'm sure there's at least some of you there that like it too. But, you know, it's hard to describe this movie to people and convince them that it's smart. Mm-hmm. And then if you do try to convince them it's smart by saying that it's about, you know, the 1% versus the 99% or whatever, it sounds like it's going to be some kind of, you know, treatise on something. And then, you know, it's not, that at all. It's really, those themes are there, but it's not, you know, overtly about that. It's not a polemic or anything. It's a sort of fun ride of a movie that happens to hit home because it's something we're all, including all of us who made the movie we made the movie for $100,000 and
oh my God,
14 days, you know, we were all suffering. So, people are relating to what we're going through too, and what we're experiencing too, as people making an independent film and struggling to get it out there. And I was on the road for 6 weeks just promoting, you know, going from city to city and waking up in rooms that, and not remembering where I was just because I believe in it so much. But that was, you know, on borrowed money and, you know, just because I believe in the movie. And I sort of have come back and I have to find a job to pay for all this traveling that I've been doing in support of the movie. So, and, you know, people aren't showing up to the movie theaters as much because they can't. I mean, which is sort of the ultimate irony of a movie like this, is everyone who needs to see it can't afford to. But, you know, like I said, I think, people eventually will see it and they will connect to it and they will connect to the sense of, rage, you know, that the characters and the people who made the movie feel, as well as, what's funny about it and what's just innately human about all of us being in this boat together right now.
Yeah. It's a fantastic film, and I encourage everyone to check it out, rent it. I paid $5.99 to stream it,
Well worth $5.99.
Totally.
And I want to
more
say
than $5.99.
Just to put a finer point on what I just said, the nice thing about the movie is it's really cathartic.
Yeah.
Like, it sounded like again, when I described it, it almost sounded like, hiding your vegetables in the mashed potatoes, but it's so cathartic because you laugh and you scream and you cry. So you get to experience and it hits home for people, but you also get to let it all out, and you also just get to watch other people do it, and it's not you. So,
well, I tried telling my wife the synopsis because she was going to kind of maybe sit down and watch it with me, and I told her what it was about, and then she just said, that sounds horrible.
Yeah,
just count me out.
Tweeted that today, didn't you?
Yeah, I tweeted that out last night. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I told her a little bit more about it, and she's still not interested, but
look, it's not for everybody.
It isn't.
I think that it surprisingly is for people who don't think it's for them. Like,
yeah,
people who end up seeing it, don't think it'd be something that they like, and they do. So.
I gotta admit, I was a little trepidatious. I mean, you're a big selling point. I obviously love what you do, and I love the choices that you made. So I had a lot of confidence in the movie. But even me, and I'm relatively adventurous, was kind of like, I don't know. And then, obviously when I saw it, I've been thinking about it for days.
Yeah,
it's just one of those. But
you think it is. So you just. And like any other movie, you got to get people to see it, but it's not the easiest sell. But I that's why I went out on the road, and that's why I tweeted so much and done so many of these things, and that's why Tim League, offered people a refund and let them slap them in the face if they didn't like it, because like we know it's good and we know that you like it if you see it. So
it's great.
Well, it's worth checking out, and it's out on Blu-ray and DVD right now. I'm told that they're being stocked in Walmarts. The Blu-rays.
Yes.
I've only found the DVDs at the one near me, but the one near me isn't in a very good neighborhood. So,
I know that it's in Walmart. So whether or not it's DVD and Blu-ray or just DVD, I don't know. And it'll be in Redbox in June 24th.
Okay, great.
Well, that's good to hear.
And it is streaming on video on demand right now.
And you can rent the DVD from Netflix right now. I imagine will be streaming on there before too long, to probably around the time that it's on Redbox, I'm guessing.
That's when it'll really take off, I think, is when
That's what's amazing that I found is, when I am once the movie's on Netflix, when I'm in the supermarket or walking down the street or whatever, that's when people are approaching,
That's crazy. That's cool. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it's interesting that it's that like that.
Like a little Mexican laborer man in the produce department at Vaughn's comes up to you and you're like, "What's going on?" And he's like, innkeepers, okay.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
Oh, awesome.
Well, that's great. So Cheap Thrills, check it out. I'm definitely, recommending it to anyone I talk to.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's one of those things that will, I hope, but it's that gut feeling that at some point it will find its audience. And I know that we mentioned earlier, and Pat was talking about, because we do have those films that, like Magnolia, that kind of fucking bombed at the box office, but everybody talks about. And, I think there's a lot of filmmakers that had those films, that. I mean, like Aronofsky with, Requiem for a Dream, like no one went to go see that, but now we hold that movie up and it's, it's special to us. And now he's, taken off. And the same thing with Paul Anderson, not the Resident Evil soldier guy, but he's now a big name, and I just hope, and I hope that I don't want it to be years and years later, and Cheap Thrills.
I don't either, yeah.
But it's one of those things where I think with something like this, like it does maybe the overall plot wouldn't appeal, or maybe turn people's stomachs, or turn people away for a little bit, but I think that if they give it a chance, because I think sitting at home, or because I was at Fantastic Fest when it played,
yeah,
and having an audience like that was probably the most ideal experience for something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
with that type of movie.
It is a thing where even people go like, "Oh, it made me squeamish, but I liked it," or like, it was not for, it made me uncomfortable, but I liked it, and the thing you're talking about with the filmmakers, it's like these movies. Look, I love audiences to love them, and I love them to make a lot of money and get good reviews. But like when Martin Scorsese tells you how much he loves The Innkeepers, or William Friedkin tells you how great you were in Compliance, that means everything to me.
Yeah.
Then I know that I've done the right thing. So,
Absolutely.
Oh, man, we haven't even mentioned Compliance, which is it's on my list of things to see. But every time I want to watch it, I'm like, I'm not sure if I can commit to this right now.
Yeah, that's one that's difficult for me to return to. But it's such a great movie. But it's like, you mentioned Requiem for a Dream. That's a movie that I saw once and thought was great and never wanted to see again. But
I drank a lot after seeing Requiem for a Dream.
Yeah, I think I'd probably not stop drinking if I watched it.
I mean, I love Compliance with a passion, and I mean, watching it, maybe sitting down and watching it myself again, maybe never happened if I was alone. But I would show that film every night to new people if I could, just to see their their expressions and what they say.
Marilyn Manson, he brings people to his house all the time and shows that movie.
Wow. That's amazing.
There you go.
Well, all right, let's take a quick musical break here and we'll come back and talk some Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Is that cool with you guys?
Yes.
Yeah, whatever.
It's time.
Whatever.
Well, today's band comes from the UK. They're called Marmozets. Marmozets.
Oh, God. Don't even try to fucking pronounce it, John. Jesus Christ.
They're going to be on the Vans Warped Tour July 4th through August 3rd. So if you're heading out to any of those tours, if you're in any of the cities that the tour goes through on those dates, check them out. They were on AP Magazine's Bands You Need to Know in 2014 list.
Do you remember when the Warped Tour was actually cool? I do.
I don't remember.
I remember when it used to be cool.
Like 14 fucking years ago.
It still is cool. It's right, guys.
No, it's not, dude.
All right. Well,
you gotta wear your little sister's jeans and shit.
Yeah. Well, if you're one of the 100 people at the Vans Warped Tour, be sure to check this band out. This is Marmozets with the song Move, Shake, Hide on the ScreamCast. That was Move, Shake, Hide by Marmozets. It's off of their EP, their 4-song EP that's streaming right now on SoundCloud. I'll have the link in the show notes for you to check out. So I don't have a release date on the EP itself, but I believe they will be having copies to sell during their 1-month stint on the Vans Warped Tour. All right.
Listen, he just walked up out of the rain. I swear to God, that's all there was to it.
Did my father say anything to you the night he died?
I don't know. Your father came into the hospital. I thought he was crazy, out of his mind. He's hanging onto a Halloween mask. He wouldn't let it go. And what he said was, they're going to kill us.
Gentlemen,
it's time.
It's time for Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
Skeletons, all jack-o'-lanterns, gather round. It's time. Watch the screen. Watch.
Oh man, this movie, Halloween 3 is a movie that I, as a younger person, like college age or whatever, because I guess I didn't really get into horror until late high school and college, but I always kind of avoided Halloween 3 because, everyone had always said, and at the time there's, not as deep of rabbit holes in the internet you can get yourself into on Halloween 3, but it was the one without Michael Myers, so I never really kind of gave
Not really, though. It does have Michael Myers.
It does. It does.
In a way.
It does.
It's playing on the TV in the back.
But I'd never given it a chance, and then but I'd always kind of loved the poster. So when I finally gave it a shot, I believe I bought the DVD of it around the time, when was it? It was 2008, and I was starting my 31 Days of Halloween thing where I'd watch a horror movie every day in October. And it was one of the movies I watched. And I loved this crazy little gem of a movie.
It is a crazy movie. It's there's nothing like it, and there's no question that it's stupid. But yet it has such a spirit of fun, and also that there's the thing that we had discussed this a little bit previously, that it was produced by John Carpenter and sort of originally sort of conceived by him, although he didn't direct this film, and his longtime cinematographer Dean Cundey, who also shot a lot of stuff for Spielberg and shot Back to the Future and Castaway and Jurassic Park and all these things, really shot this film so well that it can't quite be dismissed as like if it's a B movie kind of story, but it's shot so well and it's got so many cool effects, but the story itself and just like everything behind it is so silly, and yet Brian, you were asking me earlier about my DVD collection, and it's really funny. And my friend Mike always laughs about this. Is every time I sold my DVDs, I never sold the Halloween 3 one. That's the only one I've ever held on to. I can't quite explain why. I mean, I'm sure at some point it just became a thing for me to not get rid of that one. But as a result, I have it on VHS, a DVD, Good Times, DVD original issue, and I now have the Blu-ray from Scream Factory, which is fantastic. But yeah, it's, I mean, this is a movie that's not for everyone. And from how I understand it, John Carpenter was not happy about Halloween 2. He didn't want to do it, and he didn't end up directing it. And he wasn't happy with just making another movie about Michael Myers killing people. So the idea was to make a different movie with the Halloween theme every year and different stories set at Halloween and call it Halloween 3, 4, 5, etc. But this movie was such a disaster that plan was completely dropped. And it's interesting. I never thought about this till last night, but it came out, I guess, the week before Halloween in 1982. And I was living in New Jersey at the time, but in my hometown of Arlington Heights, Illinois, was the Tylenol scare of 1982, where a guy had put poison into Tylenol in a I guess it was an Osco drugstore in suburban Chicago, and that began the whole safety craze. Safety labels, labels that you peel off on bottles, all that stuff didn't exist before then. And that Halloween in particular, there were all kinds of stories about how razors and and razor blades and apples and poison and candy and all kinds of stuff, which turns out was apocryphal and not true at all. But I wonder if that didn't hurt this movie about kids trick-or-treating and getting killed. It certainly didn't help. It just seemed that people were so dismissive, including me. I mean, when it came out, it was known as the bad Halloween movie, and it doesn't have Michael Myers, and it's a stupid movie. And then it must have been when it came out on tape or cable the next year that I saw it with my friend. I was in junior high at the time. And you like it because it's so bad it's good when you first watch it. And then it just grows on you. And then you still acknowledge that it's silly, but it's just so cool looking, and the music is great. It's got the Alan Howarth, John Carpenter music, and it's got some really spectacular knockout scenes and great 80s effects. But it's just I watched that last night, and I watched another movie, the Japanese movie House from 1977, and they're both movies that are just there's nothing like them. They're just, no one would ever try and make a movie like that. And it's just amazing and a testament to the sort of clout that Carpenter had with it at the time that this movie got out there, because it's so fucking weird. I mean, it's about a guy who ultimately steals a piece of Stonehenge to use in Halloween masks to turn kids' heads into bugs and snakes that will then kill their parents when they watch this signal on TV. And that's not even really the dumb part, I mean, I guess I was reading, it was originally intended to be more comical, because it was offered to Joe Dante, and Joe hired a writer who came up with the idea that as like a silly thing. And then when,
Wait, so Joe hired, what's his name?
Nigel Neal.
Nigel Neal. Wow.
Who had his
know
name taken off the movie.
That's right.
Yeah, he threatened to sue or something.
Right.
Nigel Neal, the writer of Quatermass in the Pit, right?
Right. And he was writing, a Creature from the Black Lagoon remake for John Landis at the time.
Wow.
And he came up with sort of the idea, and they had changed it so much. He claimed that De Laurentiis didn't understand it when it was translated into Italian and, sort of rejected it. But so some version of that original idea came into this movie, and, it's that whole part of it that I'm describing really doesn't come until later in the movie. The movie begins in this sleepy little town where Tom Atkins is the doctor, a drunk doctor, of course.
That's a fucking pimp, like usual.
Oh,
yeah, but he's like 40. I think he's like 47 or 48 years old at the time already, and he's having an affair in the movie with a woman who's actually Woody Allen's real life teenage girlfriend that he based the Mariel Hemingway character in Manhattan on. Stacey Nelkin.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Jesus Christ.
In fact, he gets into bed with her, and she says, "How old are you?" And she says, "Oh, I'm older than I look." But she never says how old she is. But it's real weird. And it's not like if that were today, the whole movie would be about that, and it would be like a family drama about how old dude with a weird body got this teenage girl. It's also a question. He does get turned into a robot at some point. Is she a robot from the beginning?
Tommy Lee Wallace will not answer that question. He didn't in the commentary. He doesn't, and in the making of, Ryan Collins asked him when he showed at the New Bev, and he doesn't seem to want to answer. He doesn't know. I don't think. I gotta say, it has to be later, man. It has to be later.
Well, here's my theory. I was watching it last night with that because I wanted to answer that question because it was something I wanted to talk about. And if that's the case, then that means that Connell Cochran wants Dr. Chalice to come there. Why? Because he wants an audience, or maybe, because he likes to joke he wants an audience. He wants somebody other than his army of robots to know what he's up to, But otherwise it doesn't make any sense. And maybe he thinks, well, I'll get this drunk doctor from this small town, because what the fuck's he gonna do? But he brings the whole thing down. Kind of, maybe.
Kind of.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where it was like they wanted to put a spin, and then they did it, and then they probably questioned themselves. They're like, well, how the fuck did she turn into a robot? And it's one of those things like, you know what, we don't really care.
Look,
Yeah, but when she's in full robot mode, it's so a different character than she turns into Vicky from Small Wonder, dude. She's just so straight up robot.
But is that because he injects her, recalibrates her when he kidnaps her and ties her down to the table? Or does he just turn her into a robot when he ties her down to the table? And the thing that, probably no one thought about, and we're probably giving too much credence to now is, or at least I am, is if he did build a robot version of her, man, he's good. Cause they got there, and then a few hours later, he has a fully realistic robotic version of her. He did that quick.
Well, and he'd have to be so clever to set it up so that she could come and ID her quote unquote dad's body if it's really her dad. Right. But it seemed to be really her dad because it seemed like people knew her, maybe, or no, actually nobody did. I guess.
I think she's a robot from the beginning, and he brings her. And yeah, that's right, I said robot.
Robot.
And she brings this drunk doctor in to be an audience to watch the greatest joke of all. The joke on the children. how Academy Award nominee Dan O'Herlihy as Connell Cochran describes why he's doing what he's doing before he goes into, basically the idea that, he's this old Irish dude and it's time for another, Sam Hain, another bloodletting human sacrifice. And it's gotta be the children and the people, because the snakes will bite the parents when they come out of the kids' heads and kill them. I guess that's the plan. And, it's just such a cool looking movie. I love the effects. I mean, I know people might find that stuff cheesy or quaint, but I love the laser, sort of animated laser effects that shoot out of the masks, and the music is great, especially that, you can't get that London Bridge fucking silver shack in your head. It's a real original. I mean, and you can enjoy it on any number of levels. Like it's a product of its time. It's fun. It's funny. But it's genuinely creepy. I mean, the end of it is really.
Oh yeah, it's horrifying. Yeah.
Turn it off! That worked.
Wow.
That is the first time I've heard those two films compared.
The robots get orange juice comes out of them when you punch them. Orange
Yeah.
And there's like this little like sleepy little town, up in Northern California where this guy's, controlling everybody, and there's security cameras everywhere. And are all the residents robots too? Like the guy that runs the hotel and the gas station and stuff? Or are they also in on the killing everyone? They kind of disappear.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
God damn, now I gotta watch it again. I just watched it again last night.
Yeah, it's a repeat watcher. It commands, it's like 2001. You have to watch it over and over.
Well, Pat, you were talking about the look and everything. I mean, to me, it's like a movie that exists in like a Carpenter adjacent universe because of the way it looks and because of the score. Even though and because of Tom Atkins, certainly, it feels like, meanwhile, in another part of the Carpenterverse, kind of, is this wacky shit, basically.
Right. Yeah, like if he had made the movie at that time, it probably wouldn't have been as silly. And maybe people were dismissive, and probably they were dismissive of it at the time, but it's built such a fan base now that, I remember being at a screening of The Thing many years ago at the Arrow out in Santa Monica, and someone brought it up because Tommy Lee Wallace was on the stage, Alan Howarth was on the stage. And somebody brought it up if they asked if they were going to release the score, and it got like this huge applause in the audience. And like, I know a guy who has like the poster tattooed on his arm, and I've got a T-shirt, from it. I think you probably got that too, don't you, Brian?
I got a poster, but not a T-shirt.
Yeah, but like
I got a T-shirt too.
Oh wait, I think I have the T-shirt too. Yeah,
it's the one with like the three kids walking.
The silhouette.
Like,
yeah, no, I actually, you know what? I bought this sweatshirt for myself, but I gave it to my wife.
It's weird how much those scenes, it came out just a few months after E.T., but how weird the trick-or-treating scenes with the lighting and everything resemble the scenes from E.T. too.
Dude.
That magic hour lighting and the little kids in the masks and the silhouettes and all that stuff it's a cool movie, man. It's like, it's fine if you, are find it creepy or funny or both, it's not necessarily tongue-in-cheek. It's played pretty straight, but it's genuinely creepy and weird and funny and fun.
Yeah.
And, like I said, it's an old dude who steals a stone from Stonehenge and makes magic powder and put on Halloween masks to turn kids' heads into bugs and snakes. I mean, what else do you need?
I watch this movie every Halloween now since I first saw it. So I watched the original Halloween, I watched Halloween 3, and then I watched Trick or Treat. Those are the three movies that I watch pretty much the last 3 nights up to Halloween.
Gene Simmons is in Trick or Treat, right?
No, this is the
not different.
The more recent one.
The anthology one. Trick or Treat. There's an R there.
But
Trick or Treat with Gene Simmons is fucking awesome. And I hope someday it comes to Blu-ray with the soundtrack.
I had dinner.
Well,
is
US,
it really?
not German.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
German.
Not a $50 German media book.
Wait, Pat, you had dinner with who?
With Gene Simmons, and I got to ask him about all these things. He was all like huge Kiss fan as a kid, and still am, and all the movies and all that stuff. But
did you ask him about Never Too Young to Die? Please tell me you did.
That's someone's a hermaphrodite in that movie?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
yes.
He's Ragnar. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we did.
Velvet Bond Ragnar.
Holy shit!
Me about like he was friends with John Frankenheimer and telling me about hanging out with him, and he was telling me all the movies that he turned down because the tours. He made so much money on the tour, so he was like, I turned down Flashdance. I think Frankenheimer wanted him to be the bad guy that John Glover plays in 52 Pickup. So
Wow.
Wow. Oh my God.
Is he as kind of larger than life in person? That I mean, because I see him on these TV shows and stuff like that, and he just seems like he just doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, I tell you what, his son Nick is in this movie, his horror movie that I did actually called Starry Eyes that will be coming out probably later this year. And we were at South by Southwest, and I found out just before we had the sort of dinner before the first screening that he would be joining us. And I was texting my younger brother, telling him that I was about to have dinner with Gene Simmons. And I took a picture from a distance on my phone, and I didn't realize my flash was on. And he gave me this look like I was just terrified. So I immediately walked up and I was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't know the flash was on. I'm a huge fan. I was trying to, he goes, it's all right. I ended up being stayed right opposite me. And, I said, I'm sorry. I feel like such a horse's ass. He goes, well, you're a damn handsome horse's ass.
Oh, dude.
Like a huge table of like 20 people for, 2.5, 3 hours. It was just he and I locked in intense conversation, and everybody else just watching, like talking about all the stuff with music and movies and all that stuff. So, but yeah, we went through the movies, and Trick or Treat was one of them.
Man, what a movie. That movie's great. Yeah. If you haven't seen Trick or Treat, the 80s flick, it is on DVD. Check it out. And Brad, you have the German media book, right?
Yeah, it has the soundtrack and shit in it.
God damn, I need a region-free Blu-ray player. What's wrong with me?
Oh,
I don't know. I question myself a little.
I just want to say also on Halloween 3, in case you're still on the fence, a laser beam cuts a woman's head open, and then a spider crawls out and crawls over her scalp.
Dude, watching that again last night, I still find that effect, what her face looks like after the very gross. Disturbing. It's really gross. Like, it's disturbing on the level of like Superman 3 when the chick gets pulled into the robot.
A lot of people like that are younger than me tell me that really disturbs them. That really freaked them out when Annie Ross gets turned into the robot.
Oh, dude, that freaks me the fuck out. It really gets me.
Yeah, anyway, I was just reading actually that actress in Halloween 3 refused to wear the makeup, so they had to get a body double to do it.
Yeah.
She didn't want to have a spider crawling out of her mouth and into her scalp. Go figure.
Well, it works better anyway,
I think that's a robot at that point anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Can
Pat,
we?
So funny. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say we really need. We've brought up Tom Atkins before, but we need to discuss the legend that is Tom Atkins.
My brother got to spend some time with him a few years ago when Fred and Decker and Tom came to town, and they showed Night of the Creeps and what's the other one? Monster Squad. He just said he was just a great guy. He moved back to Pittsburgh many years ago after living in LA for a long time, and I think he does theater and stuff there, and he still does stuff when people ask him to. But he just seems like just a cool dude. I mean, I've seen watching old Rockford Files episodes from the early 70s. He's on there, and I saw one recently. He was a cop that was giving Rockford guff, and he's like, Rockford, you're a real piece of crud. And I was like, so Tom Atkins, man.
Oh, dude, I gotta watch that tonight. That's amazing.
I know him like him. Yeah, if I can remember what episode it was. He's in a bunch as on and off in the first season or two as a cop that Rockford clashes with. I can't think. Deal, Commander Deal. That was
okay.
His.
That's awesome. Pat, you were talking about the people in the movie playing it straight, and I started to think about Carpenter and the actors he chooses, and Kurt Russell being a guy who doesn't really wink at the camera. I mean, he's a straight ahead, okay, this is what's happening. This is how I'm going to play it. And Atkins is a little bigger, for the most part, except in the case of Jack Burton. But he's that kind of actor too. It's just he's a
theater actor. Yeah.
Yeah. There's just something about that really, I don't know. Carpenter chose his actors well. I'm thinking maybe somebody.
So Carpenter loves Hawks and old school Hollywood and those guys that even if they were the strong silent types or they were they were real guys. They were a lot of those guys that were war veterans and, guys that worked real jobs before they became actors, because it's not like there was a big movie industry when those guys were coming up. And I think that's the kind of guy that he responds to. I mean, we need Kurt Russell now more than ever, because we don't have anybody we've got Liam Neeson. We've turned him into that, and a few other people, but some of these guys are fading. But, Kurt Russell was never bullshitty. He was always like, just a man's man. And even when he's being funny in Escape from New York and Big Trouble, kind of, he's imitating Clint Eastwood and he's imitating John Wayne.
Yeah.
There's no, it's not like a guy it's a guy who really believes that. He's really doing it. It's not like a guy doing some jokey impersonation, It's a guy who really thinks he is that person or is the person in case he was in New York.
Well, I feel like a lot of movies, a lot of Hollywood movies come out and they kind of cast way too young now. Cause if you look at movies from the 70s and the 80s, everyone seems to be older,
It's true that people are younger and prettier, and that's a problem, especially men. But also, people just didn't live as well before. Sometimes when you're looking at Tom Atkins,
right.
He's probably 30, but he looks, 50 or I look at my parents' high school yearbooks and stuff, and you're like, graduating senior, and it's like, that dude is 50. They're teenagers and 50. He's because everyone smoked and ate shit and all that kind of stuff. So
that's gotta be it.
They do not cast, kudos to, and I've heard Evan Katz talk about this, people casting cheap thrills with real faces. Evan likes Walter Matthau and Bruce Dern and those. He likes those movies, Mitchum, those movies from the 70s, those crime movies, even Clint Eastwood or
Warren Oates.
Lee Marvin, Charles Bronson. These are guys people have lived in faces, and it is more relatable, I think, as you said before about, relating to a character in Cheap Thrills. It's another reason is everyone seems like a real person because they kind of look like real people.
Well,
and I'm bring that back, it's like that. I am that kind of actor myself, so I don't feel that I don't mind playing supporting roles or bit parts or whatever, but I don't feel that I should be relegated to being some weird character because I look a certain way, because I know as an actor I can carry a movie, so I'm gonna try and bring that back, you know what I mean? It'll be a one day, but there are directors that are willing to cast me in the leads, and if I were the next Warren Oates, nothing would make me happier, believe me.
Dude, I would love that.
Well, we need to get you in a revenge film next.
Yeah, I need to get some time to write. I mean, I've been doing a lot of assignment work writing, but when I get that chunk of time, I'm going to write something that I'll make, that I'll direct for a low budget and probably maybe I'll act in it. I mean, it was hard when I made my short and I acted in it. It's not as easy to direct yourself, but, I certainly know a lot of really talented actors who are great that I could cast in it and probably get more money for than if I put myself in.
Brian and Brad, I want to get your guys' input on when you guys kind of first discovered Halloween 3. Do you want to start, Brad?
Yeah, let Brad go on this one, because I'm always curious to hear Brad's history.
Oh, you are?
Yes, sir.
Well, with mine, I actually didn't see it till, I was still young, but my mom, immediately was like, no, don't watch it. It sucks. And she was always like, my mother was one of the biggest Halloween fans.
My parents saw the thing and they were like, oh, it's terrible. It's so gross. And I didn't see that for years because of that.
Oh.
Yeah. So I just put it off. I was like, okay, we'll just go on to 4.
Parents don't,
yeah. Well, it's like we watched 4 and 5, and then eventually I came across on VHS, at a store or something like that, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna.
This is Brad's form of rebellion towards parents. I'm gonna watch Halloween 3. God damn it!
Fuck you, Mom. I'm gonna watch Halloween 3. I don't give a shit what you say. I don't even care if Michael's not in it. And that's the kind of attitude I went. I was like, I don't even give a shit. And I watched it. I didn't know what to say. Yeah. Because I think Halloween 3 is probably the first bizarre film at that young of age, probably 7 or 8, where I was like, I don't know what the fuck's happening. I don't get it. Like, I mean, I really like, you know, I was digging it until like kind of the end. I just didn't understand. I still don't. But, you know, it was...
Does anybody really know what's going on?
No, I don't think so. But it stuck with me. And I was like, okay, like, I came off of it and I'm like, okay, it's definitely not, you know, as what I thought it was going to be like. And I mean, I guess there was a sense of disappointment, but I grown to love it more and more. You know, every time I watch it, I just fall in love with it. And it's one of my favorite of the series.
Yeah.
I mean, but I say that with all of them, aside from Resurrection. They're all type, you know, my favorites. And I'm glad this Halloween box set's coming out because it's like fucking forcing people to buy Halloween 3 now. So it's like now actually people might get to see it, and, you know, hopefully they don't skip over that disc in the set, because it's one of those things that I think its audience can be found now. And I always say, if you're going to watch this, do it like a double feature with Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
Because those two films, like, after I watched Cabin in the Woods, immediately, the whole time, like, towards the end, I won't spoil Cabin in the Woods because it's, you know, obviously newer. But after the end, I was like, that fucking felt like a Halloween 3 type thing. You know, it just punched me right in the face. And I'm like, shit. I was like, that'd be like the fucking best double feature ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've just grown to love it, and I love it more and more each time I see it. So
nice. Cool. How about you, Brian?
God damn. You know, I think in just watching it again last night, I think I've sort of had this relationship with it where I've been trying to figure it out for years, to the point where, like, each time I watched it, I think I was like, what the fuck was that? And I was good in a way that, like, what the fuck was that? But then I was so perplexed by it that I immediately almost forgot everything. So each time I come into it again, I'm kind of like, what happens in this? Oh yeah, the bugs and the, you know, that stuff. So I think I saw it on VHS in the 90s, and totally had, each progressive time I watched it, I sort of was like more and more into it, up to last night or 2 nights ago, where I was just like, I mean, especially again, the way this Blu-ray looks, I was just kind of blown away. I mean, that magic hour shot you were talking about, Pat, I was just like, I want to just freeze that and just kind of look at it. Because I'm like, that's not, I mean, there might have been a filter on it, but in fact, there probably was to get that orange. But either way, it just, there's no CG, and...
Or those plate shots of the factory when the cloud is over at the end, and it's like matte painting and stuff. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's just such a... Dean Cundey, for my money, literally one of the best cinematographers that ever lived.
What those guys really did was, like, they had no money, you know, and they had to shoot a lot of stuff in shadow. You know, they talk about that on the Thing disc a lot. But it creates its own beautiful aesthetic, you know, and it becomes something much greater, you know, like shoot it that way to cover up, you know, the flaws in the makeup effects, which appear to be perfect when you see him in the movie, but it, you know, creates such a great mood, you know. His use of, especially the stuff that he shot in 235 is among the best, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I put his 235, like I said, up against anything from any era. I just think it's gorgeous. I was just noticing, we were talking about The Thing and Carpenter, and obviously we know The Thing came out in 1982, and so did Halloween 3, which does not make for a good year for John Carpenter.
No.
But so The Thing, June 1982, June 25th, and then Halloween 3 comes out October 22nd. So... 1-2 punch of failure for him for Universal in the same year. I was just realizing that, and how awful
and I think, you know, what was the next movie he did? Christine?
I think
And then Starman, which I think were both films that did, you know, pretty well. At least they were. I think Christine was a hit, and I know, you know, Starman was critically, you know, a hit, and I think it was probably at least a minor hit for him. And I remember Big Trouble in Little China not doing well. That didn't do well at all. I remember when that came out. I mean, those of us that saw it in the theater saw it the week it was out, you know. It's kind of odd because he's sort of like a, you know, legendary guy. You know, kept doing it for a long time, still does a little bit. But yeah, that must have been a rough year.
Yeah. I mean, I actually got to meet him. This past.
I mean, his whole career is full of those.
Yeah. Where did you meet him?
So jealous.
Yeah, I met him at just a horror convention.
Yeah.
And, I went, and like, there was a few people there, and, some that I've met before at, festivals or other conventions or whatever. I actually got to meet Tommy Lee Wallace.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went up to Carpenter, and, I was going around to most of the people, but I went up to Carpenter. I was ready. It was my first time ever meeting him. And, Sean and Brian know me, but I'll tell you, Pat, like, he's molded my life into this way that, I can't really describe.
Sure.
Because it made me want to be a filmmaker, made me want to writer, and I'll never stop. Because he inspired me so much. So when I went up to him, I just fucking froze. Like, I couldn't tell you one fucking movie he did, because it was like, oh my God, like, what do I say to you? I said that to him. I said, what do I say to you that you haven't heard before? And I couldn't think of anything. And he just, he goes, well, tell me about you. What do you do? And I was like, oh shit, and I was like, I want to be a filmmaker. I'm a writer. I'm trying to get some shit off the ground right now. Got a few things that are really working for me. And he's like, have I seen anything, that you've done? And, I said, unfortunately, no. And he's like, well, don't fucking stop until you do. I was like, I want to see something from you. Wow. And I'm like, I'm trying. He's like, just don't ever give up, because I never gave up. And it's one of those things, like, he's iconic and everybody loves him, and he's just, his work is just phenomenal, and we all know that. We can say that, we talk about that for hours. But it's one of those things that you actually think about his career, and his films actually weren't like very successful at times later on, but he just never fucking gave up. And he stayed true to himself, and he never ever split from that. I mean, he did like Memoirs of the Invisible Man and Starman and shit like that, but they still feel like Carpenter films.
Right.
And they have a lot of, he just has that feel, that look. He's one of those filmmakers that you can just sit down and watch a movie and you can tell that it's his. The same thing like with Tarantino and shit like that. Like, you're watching a Carpenter film.
Right.
I don't know. He's just that little small interaction. I talked to him a few more minutes after that, but it was just so inspirational, and like, it made me really think, like, man, this motherfucker did not give up,
Yeah.
And it gave me a lot of fucking inspiration.
Cool.
But anyways, yeah,
that's fucking sweet, man.
He's inspiring. Yeah. I mean, he did a lot with a very little, and he made probably, if you're going to be really honest about it, one of the 10 most influential movies of all time. If you look at everything that came after Halloween, that movie is really, really important. Like, that movie, whether you like it or not, is in so many movies. It's like The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
It's like, and he made that for nothing. And I think for a long time, if it's not still true, it was the most, from what it cost to what it made, the most profitable movie, of all time. So, those are the people that we admire, that really did that. And, some of us continue to do that, and they make amazing things that are just, I mean, I watch Halloween 3 or The Thing or, Assault on Precinct 13 or Halloween or any of these movies a million times before I'd watched one of these $180 million, CGI jizz fests.
Yeah.
Bore the hell out of me, because the creativity, I'd still prefer to make a movie that way or watch a movie that way, because it's just those frames that, they lit that way because they didn't have enough money to really build full sets or have great effects, are so much more beautiful than anything you could spend $20 million on.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing. Like, I think like limited budget kind of boosts creativity. I mean, you see all these filmmakers, they get thrown millions and millions of dollars to do whatever they want. For example, I would say Peter Jackson's King Kong is kind of an example of this.
That's a perfect example.
Yeah, I mean, it's so much money was thrown at that movie, and it's
the actress can't really juggle the balls. She can't learn to juggle the balls in her hands.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just
right.
I would almost rather watch like a lower budget movie, definitely before a gigantic, Leviathan of a film,
There are exceptions, of course,
Yeah.
but it's if you see to plug Cheap Thrills because it's germane, it's like, if you see the documentary, it's a 45-minute documentary about what we went through to do that with nothing, in 2 weeks, basically. But our heart is in the right place. And I think that an audience can feel that when they watch the movie. They can feel whether there's a heart there or whether there's a corporation that's making decisions on something, even in a studio film, like Godzilla is a really good example of a movie that was made by a corporation that has a personality and a heart beating behind it, and is enjoyable because of that.
I feel like with Godzilla, for example, they trusted the director and they trusted the legacy that Godzilla had before it. And they learned from the crappy 1998, big budget movie.
A movie I walked out of. And that's rare for me. I rarely ever walk out of a theater of a movie.
But I think if a studio is throwing a lot of money and they're behind the director's, intent and their vision, I feel like most of the time that's an exception. I mean, I still think King Kong is still kind of a, even with that, it's still a failure. I mean, I own the thing, but there's certain moments that I like, but it's just way too bloated.
Yeah,
I mean, in the news right now with Edgar Wright leaving Ant-Man, I mean, that's an example of a studio not trusting their director, and the whole reason why people were interested in a friggin' Ant-Man movie is because of Edgar Wright,
Right. Not
necessarily because of the Marvel machine.
Well, Kevin Feige does the Marvel films. He directs them, so that, for all intents and purposes. So that's, I think, the bottom line there. And a lot of, directors rankle against that, but you could build quite a career making one of those movies because, his track record's good.
Yeah.
But I think somebody who is a singular voice like Edgar Wright is probably not going to come off too well in that situation.
Yeah. It's kind of a tough, situation to be in, I guess.
The public doesn't know who Edgar Wright is. I mean, they might have seen the movies, but I mean, we think Edgar Wright is this, and he is a great director and he is big, but like, he's big to us because of the community that we're amongst. We're movie geeks.
Right.
But like the outside people they don't give a flying fuck if Edgar Wright's behind the movie or not.
Yeah.
Edgar Wright's a big fan of Cheap Thrills too, guys.
Awesome.
Nice.
There you go.
Awesome.
I'm not surprised. Edgar likes good shit. It's like every time there's a good new movie out, he almost always comes on Twitter and does.
Yes.
It's just calls out the new shit that ends up, I go and see it and he's usually right. So.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, guys, we need to wrap up the conversation on Halloween 3. We need to get into our top 5 batshit crazy lists. So,
all right.
I wanted to run down really quick. I mean, we don't have to dive into all the features and everything, but this, I wanted to kind of, cause when Brad was telling me about us doing the show, especially with the new Halloween set being released, I was a little bit kind of tentative on us talking about Halloween 3, but I think that, there's kind of an opposite reaction towards the movie because there's a lot of people who don't necessarily like the Michael Myers flicks. I mean, there are those people out there, but they love kind of batshit crazy, what the fuck type films. And I think Halloween 3 is, right up that alley. So, when Brad kind of spun it that way towards me, I was like, all right, cool. I'm that makes sense that we would talk about this standalone, set.
The movie on its own.
Yeah.
Sure.
It, of course, it's part of the Halloween series, but it's totally not a Halloween movie.
Right.
In name only. In name only. Yeah, it was funny when I was watching it the other night. I tweeted out a couple pictures, and I got at least 2 tweet responses that were just like my favorite Halloween movie.
Yeah,
at least 2 or 3.
Yeah. So there's gonna be a lot of people who are gonna want to stick with this disc and not spend the $118, $120, whatever dollars that nerds like us will spend on a set for all the Halloween
the
flicks.
Shirt that I got, the T-shirt that I had from Halloween 3 from Fright Rags. Was the one that was regularly sold out.
Huh.
Like it would take a year for people to get it again.
That's so funny.
Mine's faded as shit, man. I wore the hell out of that thing.
Yeah.
Well, this disc is fantastic. And, I think, like you guys said, the transfer, is pretty stunning for a film like this. I mean,
Dean Cundy and Blu-ray is a match made in heaven.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, especially recently there's a couple movies that have come out since that in the transfer department haven't been getting good reviews. But, that's a whole other conversation we will definitely have in the next few weeks here. But, this transfer looks great. And like you said, Brian, the cinematography looks great in HD.
Agreed.
Did you guys have anything? And we've talked about the transfer throughout the conversation. Anyone have anything to add in regards to that?
I mean, it's just great. I mean, from whatever we had previously, which was a Good Times release DVD.
Oh my god!
And I do and still love Good Times, the VHS and DVDs that they've they surfaced out from these obscurities that they just released them. They didn't really care about the transfer, but this is definitely a must upgrade.
Oh yeah.
You might want to wait, until the box set comes out.
Or pick it up cheap. Pick it up cheap in a month.
Because it's going to drop in price big time.
In the audio department, I think it sounds great, but I think what we need to talk about mainly is kind of the special features, because there's a pretty fantastic little documentary on there, Standalone: The Making of Halloween 3: Season of the Witch, which gives you a pretty great history into the making of the film. Mm-hmm. That people like us, I loved watching. I love, like, it's almost like the history of a movie almost makes a movie better to me. You know what I mean? Like, the more you learn about what the filmmakers went through and the kind of the journey everyone took to get the movie made. I mean, for example, like Expendables, not a great movie, but one of the best making of documentaries I've ever seen.
Yeah, that one's great. Well, that's a standalone movie. Like, it's its own movie that you can watch on Netflix. Yeah.
Yeah. But, there's also a couple audio commentaries, one with Tom Atkins.
Yes.
The man's man. Mustache of power. And then an audio commentary with director Tommy Lee Wallace. So those are pretty great. If you're not interested in the gigantic set like we are, and this is the movie you love out of the series, definitely worth picking up. And like Brad said, like, this is going to end up in at a really good price. So, say you already own all the Halloween movies on other, means, and you don't want to buy the set, this is a disc to grab.
And then definitely fucking watch it when it comes out in that box set if you haven't watched, because I know that people it's one of those things that's underseen. I mean, it does have its audience, and it has found its audience for sure, but I still think there's a numerous amount of people that haven't seen this. And part 6, watch the fucking producer's cut. It fucking kicks ass. I promise.
I'm psyched on that.
I'm really excited for this box. I don't know how we're going to talk about all Halloween movies in one episode, but I think we're going to try to do it.
Two-parter. Say two-parter.
It might be a two-parter. Well, fellas, let's go ahead and jump into our top 5 segment. We're going to talk about
crazy horror films.
Yes, top 5 batshit crazy horror flicks.
This was not as easy as I thought it would be. I had to whittle it down.
Man, I had so many, and there's so many that I wanted to put on here. Yeah, this list could have got to a top 50, just because, I mean, for a person like me, like, these are the movies that I seek out, right? If a movie is, this isn't on my list, for example, like the movie The Last Exorcism, like, it's an okay movie, like, I like it, but the ending of The Last Exorcism is just out of left field and so bad shit that I have to respect it,
All right, I haven't seen it. I'm gonna put it in my.
I like it. I mean, I come from
those last.
I love that there's
moments.
The Last Exorcism Part 2,
which I hear is horrible.
Not quite The Last Exorcism.
Not quite. Yes. Nope. But with me, especially like we've talked about before, like coming from a strong religious background, like The Last Exorcism is. I love seeing the the shady minister. You know what I mean? But that movie, it ends in such a crazy, unexpected way that it's made its way onto, like, that I had to buy the Blu-ray, when I saw it for, like, $10 or whatever. But,
and that guy made 13 Sins, which I haven't seen, but has been, compared to Cheap Thrills, I guess. It has a similar plot to Cheap Thrills.
Yeah, 13 Sins is pretty okay, yeah. I enjoy that movie.
It's pretty okay.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't, like, fucking go out and tell people about it and, have a whole podcast on it.
Yeah.
No Last Exorcism.
Yeah, it's not the last.
Who would like to start? I've been starting these off in the past, and
I'll fucking go, Sean. I'll shut
Brad.
you down.
Go. Do it.
I'm not gonna fucking really talk. I mean, if you want to talk about them, that's fine. We'll just start off with my honorable mention because I have 6 total. It was just something recent that got love again. I saw it when I was really young. I saw the VHS was Visitor Q, which was recently released by Draft House Films, re-released by Draft House Films. Totally batshit fucking crazy movie. It's one of those things where it's fun if you go in trying to understand it. Try to decipher Visitor Q. Try to understand what it's about. And it's a lot more fun, actually. But, yeah, that was my honorable mention. I mean, I consider some of these horror films, and if you want to argue with me, Sean, you're more than welcome to, because I always argue with your list.
I've got some that's questionable whether they're horror films, too.
Yeah. One is Mulholland Drive. I have always loved Mulholland Drive. It's one of my favorite David Lynch films. Like, I understand why it kind of doesn't make sense, is, the history of it, was going to be like a TV series or whatever. So they just kind of put everything together to make a movie. But, it's just one of those things that just, it's just so fucking bizarre and so great. And it's sometimes terrifying. It's just that diner scene where where they're talking about the guy that, is behind the dumpster. Just that scene alone is just perfectly, it's well shot, and the score is fucking daunting as hell. And it's just, I just have always been fascinated with Mulholland Drive.
Pretty
That's
scary.
number 5. Yeah, I like it. And then, we talked about, House, from the Japanese, Criterion released that. House is just batshit nuts.
Yeah.
I don't even actually really enjoy it to an extent of a movie. It's just, I enjoy it just watching it because it's so fucking weird. And yeah, it's something to be seen. Like, it's one of the, like, you summed up Halloween 3 pretty well, Pat. I was actually surprised because I've tried to explain it without, I mean, obviously there's a spoiler in it in your explanation, but
sorry,
explain,
the movie's 30 years old.
Yeah, no. We could totally spoil it. It's cool. But, it's one of those things where you try to, explain it. And then, my next one was, Calvier, also called The Ordeal. It's a small little French film, about just a man that breaks down. He's a performer, and he breaks down in this little town, and just a lot of weird shit happens afterwards. It has some kind of a horror aspects. It's a little brutal at times. But fun little movie. Second one is Mystics in Bali. I don't know if I can fucking sum up this one either, but that's all I'm gonna say. Mystics in Bali is number 2, and the first and will always be number 1 is Begotten, which is a little hard to find, but
I haven't seen any of those.
What was that?
I haven't seen any of those.
Yeah, it's something to really track down. I think of all people, like, I mean, with the 4 of us, definitely check those out, because Begotten will fucking hit you in the face.
Begotten from 1990?
Yeah, I think it was 90s. It's a black and white film.
I have seen that film. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little pretentious, I think, at times.
The guy that did Shadow of the Vampire. Yes, I have seen that. Yeah, it is kind of gets under your skin.
That's fun. I remember. You've talked to Panos about that, haven't you, Brad? Because I remember.
Yeah, he's a big fan of it.
Panos
too,
Cosmatos loves that movie.
It's surreal. It's a great bizarre flick. If you're in the mood to get really fucking weird.
Nice.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of those.
Yeah, definitely track them down. You would dig them quite a bit, especially like Calvier. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Also called The Ordeal. It's actually like legitimately. I mean, it's under like you can comprehend everything. But it's just you're in a world. You're submerged in this world of just batshit craziness with all these people, and you start to go nuts yourself. And it's a phenomenal movie. So I definitely check that one out first, and then go from there.
Cool. Do you guys mind if I go?
Oh yeah, go ahead, Sean. You know that you can't contain yourself.
All right. This is such a hard list for me because I know there's so much more that could possibly be even more bad shit, but these were the first ones that came to my head when I jotted down the list, so I stuck them there. Number 5 is The Tie. and a tie is kind of cheating, but it's Humanoids from the Deep tied with Galaxy of Terror.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Galaxy of Terror.
Humanoids from the Deep is about monsters from the water that come up out of the water in order to rape all the young nubile women.
Yeah, that's one I saw as a kid that fucked me up.
and I know I've said in the past that I try to avoid rapey movies, but I guess I left off. I guess I'm okay with creatures raping women. I don't know.
Yeah,
don't know what I say about
Galaxy of Terror as a
exactly, which leads me into Galaxy of Terror.
Jones from Happy Days gets raped by a giant worm.
Yes, yeah, and a friend of mine, Trevor Schoenfeld, he has a podcast called Top 5 Film. He just watched Galaxy of Terror for the first time, and he was saying he hated the movie. He didn't like it, but of course the one thing he had to comment on was like, the woman gets raped by a big worm with 80 dicks.
A woman who is a Joni from Happy Days.
Yeah.
So,
that's so creepy.
That scene alone, and the movie's weird. It has,
that's the one that was shot on the sets from Battle Beyond the Stars.
Yes.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, they used the sets from Battle Beyond the Stars, and then the whole infamous, giant maggot raping, the woman there, that was shot by James Cameron.
Right.
And it just kind of like makes you wonder about James Cameron, like, cause they're just throwing goop all over this poor naked woman, and I can't imagine what being on set for that scene would have been like, let alone like when the actress got hired, like letting her know, all right, well, there's this one scene where this is going to happen. I guarantee you she didn't think it was going to be as crazy as it was.
She was just trying to get out of Joni Loves Chachi.
Right, exactly.
Plus Ray Walston.
Yeah.
Ray fucking Walston.
So Humanoids from the Deep and Galaxy of Terror, great double feature. And those are actually out on, the Blu-rays are out on Shout Factor. I'm not sure if they're out of print or not, but I do own them.
Both of those are also streaming on Netflix.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Nice. So check those out there. Definitely. My number 4 is Stuart Gordon's Dagon. It's a 2001 film.
Fish City.
I like that flick.
Yeah, it's based on a short story by H.P. Lovecraft. And,
it's pretty good.
There's some shoddy CG effects in it, and I really wish they would have gone practical, because the CG tentacles kind of really take you out of the film. But there's so many moments in that movie that have just stuck in my brain. There's a scene where a guy basically peels off his own face, cuts off his own face, that has been permanently, seared into my brain. And, it's a horror movie that takes place in kind of a seaside town with crazy fish people, and, it's definitely worth checking out if you haven't seen it. I'm not sure. I don't think it's streaming anywhere that I know of, but I have
think the DVD might be out of print too.
Really?
You can get the DVD on Netflix.
Okay.
I believe, but, you gotta get those quick, cause it becomes a very long wait and then unavailable, but it seems to be available right now.
Yeah. It's a crazy film, and it's almost stuck with me. Like, it's one of those, like, Pat, you were talking about, there's certain movies that you just can't get rid of. Yes. I've gone through it when I've kind of gone through my collection, like, what can I get rid of and what can I keep? For some reason, I've held on to this movie, and for some reason, I've held on to that horrible, movie Pathfinder. Which I don't know why I can't get myself to get rid of it.
Pathfinder?
I don't know. It's
got Jim Caviezel in it. And
no, not Jim. Is it not Jim Caviezel? It's
Outlander.
I've seen Outlander. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Outlander's legit, Brian.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I got confused.
Pathfinder's with Carl Urban.
Yes.
Fucking,
aren't they similar? Isn't it similar to Outlander in some ways?
Yeah, it's like,
kinda.
Outlander is Vikings. Like medieval meets aliens, and then Pathfinder is Vikings.
Indians versus Vikings.
Vikings, that's right. Okay.
It's horrible, but for some reason, I don't know why,
off
I can't sell it. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, moving along here. My number 3 is Death Spa, which just came out via Gorgon Video. This is a horror film about a haunted health club. And
I missed a chance to see that the other night at the Cine Family, but I heard it was something else.
I would.
Blu-ray looks great.
I would kill to see that on the big screen.
But it's like 80s health club slasher movie, right?
It's crazy.
The other one.
Because it's, it's the worst things you can imagine while you're working out that would happen, happening in a B horror flick from the 80s with practical goopy, practical gore. The story makes no sense, but there's some scenes in there, like with the, the machine where you do the, butterflies or whatever, that failing and, showers, crazy stuff happening in a shower. So I would recommend you check that movie out.
In a shower, Sean.
Crazy stuff happens in the shower.
They do.
Sold.
They do. But that flick is great, and I just discovered that for the first time because of Gorgon Video's Blu-ray release, and I saw the cover and I knew I just had to buy it. And I wanted to mention it because, Gorgon Video is kind of relaunching after, I think the last thing they did was it Faces of Death, Brad?
Yeah.
They did Faces of Death on Blu-ray, but they were a VHS label back in the 80s, right?
Yeah, I mean, they released all the Faces of Death films and, some other obscurities. They didn't release a lot of stuff. But I mean, they were well known because, of course, the Faces of Death, films. And after that kind of fell apart in a way, they, just kind of fell off the face of the earth. And now they're back with a vengeance.
They're back. And man, Death Spa, that release is fantastic. I can't really talk it up enough. So if you're a fan of these types of flicks, it's definitely worth checking out. All right. And, number one on my list is Kill List. The 2011 film. And I put that on my list just because, it's one of those movies that just makes a 180 degree turn, that I just, it's memorable because of that.
Yeah,
and,
it's one of those films that I saw, and I didn't know. I mean, it's one of those things I definitely don't want to, kind of give any inclination of what happens, because of course it's newer. But it's one of those. I agree with you, Sean. That's a good one because you go in. I mean, even if you say to people all the twists, you don't. There's no way you can fathom what's going on.
Yeah. Ben Wheatley is one of those guys there's no one like Ben Wheatley out there right now. He's just a one of a kind guy who's just doing really interesting stuff and something different every time out.
I feel like it's just a matter of time before you're in one of his movies, Beth.
Yeah, well, I met him down at Fantastic Fest. He's a really interesting guy, and I saw that the newest film that he did, A Field in England, which is it's a movie that A Field in England. I couldn't tell you what it was about or what happened in it, but I liked it.
I like those kind of reviews.
Yeah.
Well, that's my list.
Pat, you want to go?
Sure. So going to be some overlaps. First of all, I don't really have these in order necessarily because I had 20 of them and I just kind of picked 5 at random. I wanted to correct something you said that Visitor Q was put out by Draft House Films recently. It was not, but they did put out The Visitor, which is on my list.
Oh shit, that's what I fucking meant.
Oh, you meant The Visitor?
Oh god, I fucked up.
No, that's cool.
Visitor Q is the Takashi.
The Takashi film. Yeah.
Okay.
You meant The Visitor? Man.
Yeah, I totally meant The Visitor. I even have it in my notes. I have it as The Visitor in my notes too.
What the movie is. It's it's a movie that I was I saw the trailer. I didn't remember anything about it. And I said, "Oh, we got to watch this. Draft House is putting it out," to my brother Jim, who Brian knows. And Jim said, "Don't you remember we saw that?" And I said, "Oh." He said, "Yeah. When I was, 9 or years old and he was 11, he saw it. And he said, I remember thinking that when I was 9, that was the worst movie I'd ever seen." We watched it and we watched it and it was bad. And it was definitely there's amazing parts and it's just jaw droppingly, every single thing in it is jaw dropping, but you're it's kind of long and you're kind of bored by it. And then the next day you can't stop thinking about it. You're calling each other up and talking about it, and then your ringtone is the theme from it, and it's just like indescribable. It's not a horror movie, and it wasn't do it justice. It's a sci-fi movie, and it also rips off like every movie from the year before. So it's got like the Fury scene and Superman, and even has Glenn Ford in it, and it has, you know, obvious The Omen and all these things that don't really fit together. And Sam Peckinpah, I guess, couldn't bother to show up sober, so he's just kind of staggering around, and then they have to have somebody else do his voice because he was unintelligible.
Oh my god.
And it's Glenn Ford's eyes get pecked out while he's driving by a bird.
That scene is insane.
You watch John Huston, who's like in his 70s, late 70s, and had, you know, emphysema for years before that, walk up the longest flight of stairs, up and down it, and they like film the whole thing happening. It's like, Jesus.
So mean.
And Franco Nero as Space Jesus, and Shelley Winters, weird nanny. Like, oh my God, there's just so many things that, like, I don't want to spoil it because, I mean, I've already spoiled a few things, but it's the stuff that happens in the movie.
Yeah, it's
rather than the story itself, which is like some kind of version of The Omen, but The Omen from space. Got the greatest theme song. I mean, it's just like, it's so good. Can I play it, or is that a rights problem?
No, I don't think that's a rights problem.
It's my ringtone right now, so I have to, let me just find it real quick. But, it's one of those things that my girlfriend and I just couldn't stop, singing for, let's see, sounds. Okay. Do I have it on here now? Oh, and that's not it. Yeah, here we go.
Oh, God.
And that plays like pretty much every time you see like ancient John Huston walking down the street. It's like, Donna! He's like 500 years old walking down the street.
Well, what else would play while you're walking down the street? Come on.
What's that? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, what else would be playing?
Right, that's it. So, that movie, The Visitor, and you can see that Draft House has that out on DVD and Blu-ray.
Lovely
now.
looking Blu-ray. Pat, you were talking about
great extras on that disc too.
You were talking about John Huston and Shelley Winters. I always see this movie and Tentacles as like their Italian vacation.
Yeah.
You know, for the late 70s. Like, let's just go hang out in Italy.
They're probably banging.
It could have been, man. They were in Italy for the late 70s.
Another one is also a sci-fi horror movie. I have two older brothers. My oldest brother is 4 years older than me, and he was really into heavy metal and weird horror movies when I was like a kid. And he was really big on this movie called Extro from 1983.
Oh, fuck. I totally forgot about Extro. Shit.
Almost made my list.
Yeah, it's, you know, I won't say too much about it except that, you know, father and son are out
birthing
playing.
scene.
The father is abducted by aliens, and then another alien comes down and impregnates a woman, and that woman gives birth to the man.
Wow.
Full-on woman giving birth to a full-grown man.
That scene is amazing.
Horrifying.
Yeah. It's a British movie. It's really crazy. It's available on DVD somewhere. I think, actually, maybe Netflix or somebody has it, or you can probably buy it somewhere. But Extra is batshit crazy as they come. Blue Sunshine from 1978.
That almost made my list too.
About a bad batch of LSD that 10 years later makes people lose their hair and fly in a homicidal rage. Including a very memorable climax inside a disco inside a mall, which is just has to be seen to be believed. And starring Zalman King, who would later create, you know, the sexual thriller with 9.5 Weeks and, of course, Red Shoe Diaries.
Yes,
yeah.
Red Shoe Diaries.
One that I think a lot of people haven't seen, and it doesn't get shown much. I'm lucky to have my brother in exhibition, so I got to see this movie on a 35 millimeter print in a theater, which is the way to see it. And it's called Anguish from 1987. Yes, Luna, which
Fuck
is
yes.
This one I definitely don't want to spoil, except to say that it is a movie within a movie. I don't want to say much more than that, but it's a mother and her son.
Zelda Rubinstein. You got to give him Zelda Rubinstein.
And it involves hypnotism and being in a movie theater. And if you see it in a movie theater, it really freaks out.
Oh, dude, I can't imagine seeing that in a theater. That'd be so awesome.
I was looking behind me a lot. And then my last one was mentioned before, which is Houseu, which isn't necessarily a horror film per se, but you said you had a hard time describing it, and I was just thinking it's like if The Shining were made as a Japanese kids movie. That's
Nice.
Exactly.
Like PBS kid shows from the 70s and really crazy gory scenes, and the theme song is sung by a cat at one point. It's just it has every single possible optical effect, from iris zoom-ins to animation and split screen and weird sets and backdrops and guy that gets turned into a pile of bananas. And, it's just that is probably the most batshit crazy movie I've ever seen. Period.
That's incredible.
Yeah. That's a great list, man.
Wow.
All
right, Brian, you're up, sir.
Let me just buzz through my honorable mentions. Some of these have been mentioned already.
Okay.
There's a movie called The Suckling.
Wow.
I'm not even going to describe these. Just go look them up if you're interested. Sledgehammer is one that Intervision put out, and we've talked about it on the show before. It's I think it's a crazy shot on video. I don't even know what to call that slasher movie, I guess. Shriek of the Mutilated is a Yeti movie. It's fucking weird. Have you seen that one, Pat?
No, I haven't seen any of these, but the titles are all great. I just looked up The Suckling and I just saw mutated fetus recast, and I'm like, I'm in.
It's fucking great. It's bizarre. But yeah, Phil Blankenship turned me on to Shriek of the Mutilated. He's a fan of that one. It's bizarre. And another Yeti movie that I like, Night of the Demon, the 1980 one, is fucking weird. Where, speaking of rape, there's a Yeti rape in that, or a Sasquatch rape.
Oh dear God.
Dreamcatcher.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I'm surprised you didn't say that, Pat.
Yeah, that almost made my list, but I thought it was more of a sci-fi movie than a horror movie,
it's the shit monster makes it enough of a horror what the fuck for me that
it definitely is, but maybe I thought that was too mainstream or something.
Yeah,
but that has to be seen for Morgan Freeman's Arsenio flat top and eyebrows alone.
Yes. The Exorcist 2, that's pretty obvious.
Yes.
Houseu, Night Beast, the Don Dohler movie is fucking nutty. Worth looking at.
Night Beast from the 80s?
Yeah.
Do you know J.J. Abrams did the music to that when he was like a teenager?
I did not know that. Holy shit. Yeah. Wow.
It's fucking nuts. I think he was like 17 or 16 when he did it.
Wow, that just gives it another little something. Oh man, that's good shit. This one just about made my list. Rock and Roll Nightmare.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
that's good.
There's few things like that. Okay, so my list starts with a really shitty 3-way tie because I'm a douche.
Wow, you sound like me, dude. This is like I finally cut down to 5 titles, and now you guys are fucking yelling out 10 and shit.
I just couldn't.
Fuck you guys.
I know, Brad. I'm sorry. I couldn't decide on this.
Brad. We're proud of you.
I'm proud of Brad too. Boarding House, which is just total bizarro shot on video.
Available on Slasher Video.
Yeah, just go see that one. I don't even want to try and describe that. Things, which is another Intervision shot on video, Canadian.
Great.
Just well, I don't need another one that a lot of these defy description for me. Pat, maybe you could describe them if you'd seen them, but I cannot. It's just really hard to even talk about. Things, just go see that one. And then Attack of the Beast Creatures, which is another, I think it was shot on video, 80s movie, which is basically like Island of the Zuni Dolls from Trilogy of Terror.
What is that called? What did you say?
Attack of the Beast Creatures.
And I've never even heard of that shit.
Wow.
I think it's only on VHS, but it's like this group of people get stranded on an island, and suddenly they realize there's these fucking puppets that look a lot like the Zuni doll meets Gumby, but red.
Oh.
So that sounds like a weird description, but when you see them, you'll know what I'm talking about. Anyway, they're just popping up around the trees, and they start fucking with these people, and it's weird, but it's good. Next up is the Pit from 1981.
Good one.
Yeah.
What do you have, like 20? Jesus.
This is the real list right now. Number 4, The Pit. It's like a solitary and strange boy wreaks revenge on the people who harass it. I don't even know how to. This one, the kids got like he finds this weird creature in a pit, and he brings his babysitter out there, and he's kind of into his babysitter. And I'm terrible at describing this stuff, but it's weird and it's good.
Well, the thing that you're missing out on that is that he has a teddy bear that tells him what to do.
That's right. That's a big thing.
Yeah, and like the teddy bear tells him to, take these people to this pit where these Trolologs live, and to feed them, and he feeds these creatures in this pit. But did you know that's based off a novel?
No.
And
Oh
it's
my
actually,
God, I can't believe I forgot Pin.
Oh, that's
Pin's
a good
really
one
good too. Yeah, Pin's really good.
It's fucked up.
But you reminded me when you said the teddy bear that Extra has a clown teddy bear that turns into a full-grown man clown, and I believe rapes a woman too. Yeah.
Fucking Extra.
I can't believe I forgot Pin. I just saw that too.
Pin's really, really good.
And A Plastic Nightmare as well.
Yeah, that is a creepy one. That's just creepy as well.
You know
as
what's wrong with